Hey everybody, this is Bill Daly from Bitterroot Valley Calvary Chapel. Just wanted to spend a few minutes with you all today looking briefly at the letter that Paul the Apostle wrote to Titus. You know, that letter is it's very rich and there's much to be learned from it, but I wanted to take a look at something very important found in chapter 1, and specifically the second part of verse 1. In that, Paul is explaining the purpose of his letter to Titus, where he writes, "For the sake of the faith of God's elect and their knowledge of the truth, which accords with godliness." Did you catch that? Their knowledge of the truth, which accords with godliness. You know, this brings up a very important aspect in our Christian walk, that our works, our deeds, our actions, how we conduct ourselves should match our faith. It's been said that if your theology doesn't change your behavior, it'll never change your destiny. You know, put another way, if we talk the talk, then we ought to be walking the walk. And I'm not talking about slipping up here and there and sometimes acting much like the world from time to time. We all do that because although we who are in Christ have been regenerated, we're still incarcerated in the corruption of our flesh. But what we are talking about is a pattern. You see, closeness to Christ produces three very important things: humility, holiness, and happiness or joy. And our relationship, our faith, should produce a pattern of these things. Our walk with Christ involves the process of sanctification. That is, being forged more and more into the likeness of Christ each and every day. If you are in Christ, then you should be more like Him today than you were when you first got saved, not more like the world. And so this letter speaks a great deal to modeling and how we're to walk out our faith in matters of leadership at home, the church, and in the world. You know, there's an old maxim that says that your actions are so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. God forbid that we would ever fit that. Now, there's an old cliche that you may have heard through the years that says that you are the only Bible that most people will ever read, so act accordingly. Not speak accordingly, act accordingly. Talk is cheap. There are talkers and there are doers, so don't be a talker. And by the way, just so that we're clear, crystal clear in fact, we are not talking about works unto salvation, God forbid. But we are talking about a profession and a possession of faith that accords or matches godliness. Do you see that? And again, we aren't talking about perfection in our conduct here. We're talking about a pattern of ever-increasing humility, a pattern of ever-increasing holiness, and a pattern of ever-increasing happiness and joy, a faith that actually accords with godliness. Nearness to God brings likeness to God. You cannot have an experience with Him and walk away unchanged. The more that you and I see God, the more of God will be seen in us, not heard in us. It's a good reminder. So I wish you all a wonderful week and that God richly bless each and every single one of you. Take care.